The Nigerian Medical Association (NMA) has vowed that its members will not interact or collaborate with the 15-member Chinese medical team that arrived Nigeria Wednesday. The team, whose members arrived at Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, is in Nigeria to help the country combat COVID-19. The confirmed cases rose by 22 to 276 yesterday. 5 Nigerians have also tested positive for the pandemic in China, while a 66-year-old Briton died of the virus in Lagos, bringing to 7 the total number of deaths in Nigeria. The United States also yesterday evacuated another batch of 281 Africans from Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos. Meanwhile, following a rush of actions by several state governors on the pandemic, the federal government has advised them and other political leaders to avoid statements that may mislead the people or jeopardize the current efforts to tackle the virus. NMA President Dr. Francis Faduyile, speaking exclusively to This Day yesterday, said for the physicians to practice in the country, they would have to go through the Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria (MDCN) rights examinations, and if they are successful, they could practice in the country. His statement was in spite of the assurance of the federal government that the Chinese medical team would not be practicing medicine during their mission, but focusing on installing medical equipment and training Nigerians on their operations, among others. He said, there is nothing the Chinese doctors will do that can complement what we are doing. Nigerian doctors have been doing well so far. We have made our position known that we do not need these Chinese here at this time. We heard the Minister of Health, Dr. Sagi Hariri, said they were going to quarantine them for 14 days before being allowed to support the treatment of persons with COVID-19. For them to practice in Nigeria, they should undergo our council examinations, and if they are eventually successful, then they can complement our work. Otherwise, we will have no interaction with them. He explained that NMA's position is in tandem with the protocols Nigeria doctors go through before they are allowed to practice abroad. He, however, expressed appreciation for the medical supplies brought into the country, saying the items were not easy to come by. We have no issues with their supplies. We will not reject their gifts because they are needed. But Nigeria has the expertise to fight COVID-19, he said. NME had last week rejected the plans by the federal government to bring in the Chinese medical team. Faduyile had said the federal government did not take into consideration the extant laws regulating the practice of medicine in Nigeria as enshrined in the MDCN Act. MDCN was not consulted before granting the necessary approval for foreigners to interact with Nigerian patients. Also, NMA chairman, Lagos State Branch Dr. Saliu Hussaini, told These Days that the body was beginning to suspect that the federal government had a hidden agenda for bringing the doctors into the country. He added that the health sector had not used up to 1% of its workforce, not to mention being overwhelmed. He said, in Lagos, we have not lost any patients in our facilities due to COVID-19. The deaths you are hearing are people who did not come out for treatment. In Lagos, we have 8,000 doctors and 27 general hospitals. We are not overwhelmed in any way. So we are surprised by the government's insistence that they come here. We heard they are coming for 1 month, and by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control (NCDC) case definition protocol, anyone coming into the country from a high-risk country is meant to be quarantined for 14 days. So how much longer are they then going to stay in the country? He stated that the federal government was also breaking the Nigerian law, noting that foreigners have no jurisdiction to touch any patient in Nigeria, even if that patient is their national. The medical team arrived at Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja yesterday in a chartered Air Peace aircraft. The aircraft also delivered the second batch of medical supplies along with the medical personnel from China. The flight was operated by the airline's Boeing B777-200ER P45 NBVE in a non-stop 14 hours service, which landed in Beijing, China at 14:18 p.m. local time on Tuesday and arrived in Abuja yesterday 4:25 p.m. local time. Eranire and Chinese ambassador to Nigeria, Mr. Zhou Pingjian, along with other top officials from both countries, received the medical supplies. The Chinese ambassador put the total value of the items at $1.5 million. He explained that the medical supplies would be used to help contain the spread of the virus in Nigeria. The consignment was immediately taken to a warehouse facility maintained by the Ministry of Health in Abuja. The materials brought in include 16 tons of test kits, ventilators, disinfectant machines, disposable medical masks, medicines, rubber gloves, protective gowns, goggles, face shields, and infrared thermometers. The federal government had on April 5th delivered the first batch of medical supplies from Istanbul, Turkey, airlifted by the Air Force. Nigeria's confirmed cases yesterday rose by 22 to 276. Lagos remains the epicenter of the epicenter of the pandemic with 145 cases, while the FCT has 54 with 20 in Osun, 12 in Edo, 11 in Oyo, 8 in Bauchi, 5 each in Akwa Ibom and Kaduna, 4 in Ogun, 2 each in Enugu, Ekiti, Kwara and Rivers, and 1 each in Benue, Delta, Katsina and Ondo. So far, 44 patients have been discharged, while 7 died. However, 5 Nigerians have tested positive to COVID-19 in China, according to daily.co.uk. The Guangzhou Health Commission had confirmed that 4 of them had recently visited the same eatery, Ima Food, multiple times. The restaurant's owner, alongside her daughter and another child, later tested positive for the contagion. The Nigerians were detected between March 28th and March 30th after screening 3,779 travelers from high-risk countries living in the city. The Ima Food restaurant has been closed for inspection. A 66-year-old British citizen has died of COVID-19 in Lagos, bringing to 7 the total number of deaths in Nigeria. Lagos State Commissioner for Health, Professor Akin Abayomi, said yesterday that the disease came into Nigeria on March 17th. He said Lagos has recorded another COVID-19 related death in a 66-year-old Briton who traveled from India via Dubai to Lagos on March 17, 2020. As of April 7, 2020, there are 10 new cases of COVID-19 confirmed. The total of COVID-19 cases in Lagos rose to 130. Another COVID-19 patient was discharged after full recovery. This brings the number of discharged patients to 32. So guys, I think the bottom line here is that the federal government is not being sincere. Is not being sincere. Apart from what the NMA, Nigeria Medical Association, apart from their own position, Nigerians themselves, everybody has been like, oh no, we don't want these people, we don't want these people, and they have been adamant. And when NMA came up and said no, this is their position, and that alone buttresses the fears of Nigerians. So because they will tell you, oh, you guys don't know anything, you are not medically inclined, and what have you. Had it been the NMA, if they had come out before and say, okay, there's no problem, there's no big deal about it, fine, good and fine. But like when they said, no, we don't want these people, at the end of the day, the government or the federal government, said they are not going back on their decision. And like the NMA said, they didn't consult them, they didn't, have a better explanation to them even before coming. They all just heard that they will be coming, and at the end of the day, they just say they can't go back, meaning they had already settled the whole thing. And the same fears that NMA is having, that's the same fear Nigerians are having. And for the fact that, because everybody has been suspecting, what could be happening, why is it like that? The reason why our federal government, they don't want this country to move forward. That is just the way it is, because they are used to anything. Oh, if it is not Nigeria, they don't develop their people. And this is the same attitude, if not because of the way things have been going, that most of the countries of the world are experiencing the same thing. They are even experiencing worse things than what we have in Nigeria. Believe you me, all these our politicians would have left. They would have left because of they have a appetite for foreign things. They will be telling Nigerians that Nigerians love foreign things. We don't produce anything here. We don't do this. Even the local content, the local producers, you don't encourage them so that they'll be on the same level with the ones outside the country. So, and that's why you see most of the time, it seems as if they are not producing a standard thing. Maybe they are substandard. And apart from that, even if we have them, they are not even much for us to even consume or to even um patronize. But it's the same our leaders that have appetite for abroad things. That's why you see them, any little thing, they are going abroad for medical medicine. And that is one of the reasons, because they are not comfortable with the people we have on ground. And fortunately, most of our people, once they go abroad, they do tremendously well. But because the government is adamant not to provide a lot of things, enough things for them, for them to thrive, and it's cut across all sectors, they will not want to do that. Because now they say it's like they have a hidden agenda. Of course, who will not know that there's something fishy? Why would you want to do that? Of course, they've really explained everything, which we have seen according to the law, according to whatever. Of course, the government is always, always do what they don't even mean. Believe you me, if not because of this whole thing, they would have flown themselves abroad. They would have. Of course, we are still hearing some fun, which we cannot confirm. But a lot of things, we see that things are not just working well. We see that, they're hiding a lot of things. If they don't have agenda, why are you bringing these people? Now, according to the NCDC directive, you must quarantine anyone coming from those high-risk countries. What are they going to do? Have they been quarantined? Of course, maybe that's what we are hearing. But if they're going to spend 1 month, then how many months are they going to how many weeks are they going to stay here? But that being said, but the most important thing is that the NMA insisting that they will not have anything to do with them. They will not have anything to do with them. They will not have, interact with them. I hope at the end of the day, alongside, they will not compromise. They will not compromise. So they know the reason why they are bringing them. Let us begin to watch. These are the people who do not listen to their people. They will be bragging, oh, people voted for them. But yet, when people tell you something or what they want, you don't do it. You just go ahead to do whatever you want to do. Now, we'll continue to say it. If people are not comfortable with it, that is it. But they cannot shut us up. The president is nowhere to be found. We cannot see him. They will tell you that he gave a speech, or he did a live broadcast. Is this enough? The vice president, we don't even know where he is. Is it enough just to say, oh, the medical teams are working? What kind of a people are we? We talk about, cursing, we talk about culture, and yet we do all the opposite. And they will tell you, oh, no, we are not saying maybe things have to be done the way it's being done abroad, but morally and courtesy, when courtesy demands for something, it does not mean whether it's being practiced elsewhere or the other side. But what we are talking about, what is worth doing, is worth doing well. That is the normal thing morally to do. That you see your leader all the time speaking and doing all manner of things. They will tell you, oh, those who are speaking, is it by speaking? Why do they want to just mess up our brain like this, that we should not even reason the right thing? The vice president, we don't even know where he is. He does not talk. He does not do anything. The president, the same thing. We're just hearing Boss Mustafa, which is a SFG, secretary to the federal government, or the whatever, Boss Mustafa, and this man, Lai Mohammed, and Hanire. Those are the three people that have been speaking. We don't even know where the VP is at this point in time, that we are not seeing him on most of the things that are happening. Even if the president, I don't know whether he's too old, which is not supposed, it's not supposed to be an excuse because he says he can do the job. Then what about the vice president? They are supposed to be working, day in, day out. We are supposed to be seeing them doing all manner of things. Let us be seeing their presence all the place. We are not seeing them, and you expect not people not to beginning to insinuate what they feel in their hearts. It's unfortunate, but it's a good thing that NMA, Nigerian Medical Association, have said they are not going to be collaborating with these Chinese people and what have you. And another thing is that all of those things, equipment or the supplies they brought, were they tested, or they just quickly they started using it? Because we know what has been happening in other countries concerning most of these supplies being brought, testing positive to this what we are talking about, to this what we are still avoiding. Did they test them? That's another thing. Did they test all of those equipment? So guys, let us hear your opinion. Leave your comments below in the comment section.